So the first time I discovered that you could do something different with glass other than coming from the factories of Stourbridge was this book. And in this book had this glassmaker called Danny Lane. Now Danny Lane made this amazing, very punk, very stark furniture made out of float glass. I was just sort of blown away. It was so different. You'd never seen anything like that before. You know, I don't want to make stuff out of wood, etc. That's what I want to do. And that's when I decided to apply to a different college instead of going down the cabinet maker's route which I originally planned. And then 25 years later I worked for him. I worked on and off there for another 3 years and then decided to come back to Norwich and set up another business here, which is where we are now. Gathering the glass from the furnace runs at 1120 degrees centigrade. Take a small amount of glass on the end of the iron, that's called the gather. Go straight to the colour, we roll it in the colour, warm it through in the glory hole, reheating it. The glory hole runs at 1250 degrees centigrade, so it melts very quickly. Come out, apply the second colour, and I go into the bench, shape it up. So the shape is called a parasol, that's straight side with a point. I then what's called thumbing it, so basically put the blowing iron and my thumb in the mouth at the same time when I trap the air. The heat from the glass then expands the air, so that's inflating it. Then I apply my jacks, kind of like tongs, which you can then cut in the neck. Then I warm it through again so it's got nice all over heat, and then I'll inflate it, trying to go for about 8 centimeters diameter. Once I've done that, I then go back into the bench, put a little bit of water on a file, apply that to the neck, so that creates thermal shock at that point. And I take it over to my stand, which has got a bit of blanket in it, out of ceramic fibre that can take the heat, knock it off. Then I go back to the furnace with a smaller bit iron, gather a small bit of glass, drop it over the hole where it snapped off, cut the glass, fold it over into a little hook. Then with a stick, I then put it back into the lid, and the lid is running at 500 degrees centigrade. End of the working day, it'll come down overnight. This is called annealing, and that basically is any stress in the glass to come out. A lot of people like doing experiences, so it's almost the same as people going up in a balloon or going in a racing car for an hour, etc. The thing about baubles is that you want them to be as quick as possible. It's a beautiful material, but it can also be very cussed. Just the difficulty of using it, how long it took to learn. I'm still learning how to use glass, still.